Hello and welcome back to the Reactivist Podcast. I'm Marlena Shivo. This week is really already off to the races. Out of the gate, I want to talk about Donald Trump. If I said the phrase, "I blame myself," who do you think is the most likely person to have said that sentence? Would it be Lindsey Graham or Donald Trump? Well, the answer is Donald Trump. If that doesn't get you out of bed in the morning, I don't know what does. I never thought I'd see the day where he took ownership of his actions. Donald Trump blasted Lindsey Graham, and then he actually blamed himself. He's taking the blame for Lindsey Graham. He said the only reason Lindsey Graham was reelected was because he, Donald Trump, endorsed him, which I kind of believe. I actually agree with Trump. I do think that Donald Trump endorsing someone like Lindsey Graham in a state like South Carolina would definitely help him win, for sure. The reason he's talking about that is because he and Lindsey Graham are not agreeing on the one thing that the two of them can't even have, which is an abortion. Don't you just love it when two elderly men argue about female reproductive rights? So Lindsey Graham is backing the 15-week abortion ban on the federal level, and Donald Trump came out and said that he doesn't support this. He sort of cited the 10th Amendment and said it should be at the state level, and each state can decide whether or not a woman has ownership of her own body. Thanks, Donald. Donald Trump isn't taking a hard turn and is actually understanding the 10th Amendment of the Constitution. I'm sorry, did we just get in a time machine and go back to April 1st? Because this feels like an April Fool's joke. So he blames himself for the presence of Lindsey Graham. So he's not exactly taking ownership of something in an apologetic way. Trump blaming himself is more him putting Lindsey Graham down and boosting himself up. So it's actually par for the course. But that sentence, I think, glass half full, is a baby step in the right direction for Trump. If you were to say to me, who's more unreasonable, Donald Trump or Lindsey Graham? And I would pick Donald Trump. I think most people would. He has very extreme opinions on things. He doesn't waver. And if you don't agree with him, bye-bye. In this case, the more reasonable person is Donald Trump. Now, the caveat being, we're in election season. Politicians, even though he doesn't consider himself a politician, he's technically a politician. You were the president, you're running for president, you are a politician, Donald Trump. I know you were a businessman, but those days are over. Oh, well, I know you're selling Bibles, blah, blah, blah. So you're sort of still a businessman-ish, but that's politically driven. We know that's politically driven, no matter what you say. This is not about God. And if it's about God, then God in this scenario is you, Donald Trump. But he could just be saying that he doesn't support the federal ban on abortion because obviously he wants to appeal to the masses. I mean, it's politics 101, and he does praise the court for overturning Roe v. Wade. So no, I'm not completely snowed by anything Donald Trump is saying, but I got to give it to Donald Trump because I agree with him when he says this country is absolutely headed in the wrong direction. And speaking of arguing, Eric Adams invited Governor Greg Abbott from Texas to come and stay in one of the shelters where the migrants are. Governor Abbott scoffed at the invitation, calling it a gimmick. That's interesting. Well, I guess it's fight gimmick with gimmick, because Governor Abbott, last I checked, the migrants didn't bust themselves in New York City. And just one day after the solar eclipse, there was an uptick in people Googling, "Why do my eyes hurt?" Well, if you didn't heed the warnings about getting the glasses that you needed to look at the sun, that might be the issue. But hey, who can blame you? Because nobody wants to see what's about to happen in this November's election. There's a new phenomenon happening called the Ozempic baby boom. That is right. People who are taking Ozempic to lose weight are finding themselves getting pregnant. women with fertility issues and conditions like endometriosis and polycystic ovarian syndrome, issues that women have that prevent them from getting pregnant easily. These same women taking Ozempic are finding themselves pregnant. Well, if that doesn't flip the script, I don't know what does. Because people taking Ozempic to lose weight who then get pregnant are now on track to gain weight. So basically, you're going to go from puking from taking Ozempic to puking from being pregnant. Mazel tov. It has also been linked to decreasing the effectiveness of birth control pills and the Plan B pill. So ladies, if you were interested in losing weight but not interested in getting pregnant, I suggest you be very careful, especially in 2024, because according to the US government, you're keeping that baby. I get why people take Ozempic. I get that people want to be thin. I get they want a fast track to being smaller. You do decrease your weight and you do decrease things like cholesterol or the sugars in your body. You will be quote unquote healthier, but everybody knows there's no quick fix. It's not necessarily a new drug because, as you know, it's meant for diabetics, but the use of it as a weight loss drug is brand new. And like everything else, you cannot determine what the long-term issues will be until it's been around long-term. There have been studies that are linking it to progression of Parkinson's disease and to suicidal thoughts, which was debunked by the FDA. However, the European Union is now doing a deeper dive into the possible link. If there is a link between Ozempic and suicidal thoughts, it brings new meaning to the phrase dying to be skinny. It's just like this vicious cycle, right? So you're going to have people who lose weight and feel good. And then down the line, we're going to start hearing about a slew of lawsuits, right? So right now, the pharmaceutical companies are booming with this trend. And then in a few years, the legal world is going to see an uptick in clients who are suing over this drug. So now their loss is essentially a gain. Nothing happens to the media industry. Nothing. We don't get a monetary side benefit from all of these issues that go on. I think I'm in the wrong industry. I really do. I think I'm in the wrong industry because we don't get any side benefit other than things to talk about.